So happy to be live again. Hello, 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 everyone. I hope that you come in, you join us today because we are going to have a phenomenal time talking about tax deductions and how to get the most from your tax deductions, how to itemize tax deduction if you have a small business. Jenn is here to elevate your thinking and your knowledge in this area. So, Albert Einstein says the hardest thing in the world to understand is income tax. So, when I think about that, if Albert Einstein, in all of his brilliance, think that taxation is complicated, what do you think about us? The rest of us, we must be struggling. And honestly, he's been dead 50, 60 years already. So if he thought it was complicated back then, modern taxation in the US is so complicated. It is so like twisting and getting your whole insides in the knots. I'm talking pulling your hair out, banging your head against the wall, complicated. Modern taxation has become even more complicated. People, honestly, I think that taxation is a conundrum. I wish we can do away with it, but you know what they say? Listen, you have to pay your taxes and die. Those are the only two things you have to do. But we have to pay taxes, so just learn about it. I think it's a conundrum. However, today, here with us today is Jennifer, and she's here to bring clarity to this whole tax world. So if you're confused, or you're just like, maybe not confused, just like, I have so many questions about taxes. She is an expert. She's been with Jackson Hewitt 17 years. And as Jenn liked to say, if there is a tax deduction or a way to save you money, I will find it. Okay, so this is what you're in for today. Please, but do me a favor. Let's share the wealth. We're going to learn so much, the vast knowledge. We're going to deep dive the world of taxes. I don't even like to say that word, but we got to pay our taxes if you live on this side of the world. So since we're going to deep dive taxes today, I want us to share the wealth. So take a moment. Jenn is here. She's in the green room. Grab yourself a drink. I'm drinking me some hot water with lemon. Grab yourself notepad, your pen. Yes, you do, because she's going to be laying on some wealth. So grab your drink, notepad, pen, and do me a huge favor. Let's share the wealth. So would you do me a favor and share the YouTube link with your family, friends? Listen, if you have adult kids or teenage kids, you want them on this call so that they can save money, they can do their taxes right. This woman is an expert. I don't use that word loosely. She's an expert, 17 years of doing taxes with a professional organization. So invite your children, invite your siblings, your coworkers, those you go to church with, your colleagues, even invite your enemies. So guess what? Invite your enemies. Hey, maybe they'll be friendlier when they don't have to pay so much in taxes. And if they owe you, maybe they'll pay you your money. So take a moment, people, to invite someone. I'm going to sit here and wait. I'm going to sit here and wait. I don't know who's on. We'll know in a minute who's on the call. Thank you for jumping on. Guys, you are in for a treat. I'm excited. I know that people are so busy. It's a Thursday evening. You guys get off late, and then you have churches, but we know you're coming because, like Einstein says, tax is the most difficult, the hardest thing to understand. And if Einstein and all of his brilliance thinks that tax is complicated, what do you think about us? You know, we're just here hanging on, trying to figure out. But that's okay, guys, coming on today to bring some clarity to the world of taxation. We have an expert who's been in the field for 17 years. She will answer your questions. So basically, when I introduce her, she's going to just get rolling with all these forms that I don't know how to pronounce and I don't know much about. And then she's going to leave an opportunity for Q&A. So please, please, please write your questions down. You can put them in the chat. And if we get to them, we will get to them live. If not, you will have a phone number with which you can call in. So are you ready? I don't have my glasses on, but I'm ready for you to join me, everybody. Hold on, my phone just went off. I bet somebody wants the link. Though I send the link out. Anyways, we're excited that you've joined us. I want you to really take a moment to invite someone. This is important. The more money in your pocket, the better. Now, so all of this might seem like textbook, like, okay, this woman works for Jackson Hewitt, right? And so what? She's a professional tax preparer person. What does it have to do with me? Let me bring it home and let me personalize it. This is how I met Jenn. Since I moved to Lakeland, I have used Jackson Hewitt to file my taxes, right? It just is what it is. Their name is big in the industry. They're reasonable. I can get in and out without too much fuss. So they've been doing my taxes for a couple of years. So this year I went to Jackson Hewitt and I had an appointment with this lady, sat in front of her with all of my yellow binders and folders. And she said to me, after about 3 minutes, she's like, you need an expert for Schedule C. I'm like, what? So I made an appointment. She actually recommended Jenn to me, right? Someone who worked at Jackson Hewitt recommend our guest today. She's like, this is who you need to speak with. I met with Jenn the first time. I had 2 meetings. I met with her. I didn't have all my stuff together. And at the end of that first meeting, I'm owing the IRS like $4,000, y'all. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go to jail because I'm tired of paying taxes. Anyways, it wasn't going to happen. Jenn is like, okay, let's set another appointment. Bring me this and bring me that and bring me this and answer these questions and answer that question. Went home, forgot everything, went back to my second appointment like a hot mess because life was happening. I sat with Jenn, and I tell you, within an hour and a half, just by asking me questions, just by drilling me, she asked me about my business, my travel. She asked me about everything, volunteerism. And at the end of that meeting, I'm walking away with a refund. You think I'm serious? So like Jenn likes to say, if there's a tax deduction, if there's a way to save you money, she will find it. So I hope that you're ready. I hope you have your notepads. I hope you have your pen, because we're going to bring right now on the screen. Everybody, listen, put some clappy hands in the chat. Welcome my new friend, Jenn Davis, to the show. Hi, Jenn.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on here. Hello, everyone out there in YouTube and Facebook land. I'm so excited to do this tonight. Oh, yes, definitely. If there is a deduction or if there's a way to save you money, I will find it for you. So we're going to jump into a lot of things tonight. We're going to talk about extensions.
Good.
Because, people procrastinate. I would if I wasn't a tax preparer. We're going to talk about itemizing. We're going to talk about Schedule C stuff, which is self-employment. So we are going to talk about all these things. And I do hope you do have pen and paper, because you're going to want to write it down. And like she said, if you want to do any questions, put them in the chat over there, and I will answer as many as I can. And what I don't answer, then we'll give my number so you can text me and I'll answer that way.
Yes. So, and the number's on the screen right now, 813.
Yes, it is.
Guys, give thumbs up. Make sure. And by the way, if you can't hear us, if there's something going on, text us so we know, because you can hear us, we can't hear you. Her number is 813-578-7713. If you don't want to ask your question publicly, or if we don't get to your question, okay? Go ahead, Jenn.
Yes, thank you. So I have so many things to share with you tonight, things that I'm sure none of you probably even thought of. So it's going to be so much that it is going to blow your mind. So we're going to start with the extensions, because tax time there's like a week left, y'all. Like April 15th is like almost here. So there's a week left. Oh, and if you stay on till the end of the call, we do have a special for y'all with the extensions. So I'm going to talk about the extensions now. And the extension is, it gives you 6 extra months to do your taxes. It changes your due date from April 15th to October 15th. Now, if you owe money, it does not change the time of what you owe it. Because if you owe money, the money is due on April 15th. Or they do charge penalties and interest. However, if I am doing your taxes, I'm going to do everything I can to get you a refund. And if I can't get you a refund, then I will zero you out. And if I can't zero you out and I can't get you a refund, then I will make it absolutely as low as possible, legally possible. So we're going to go with the extensions they're not too incredibly hard. I mean, I just need a little bit of information for it. So you give me that information and I will be able to do an extension for you. And we can talk about that. And the extension, like I said, it will change the due date to October 15th instead of April 15th. So that gives you extra time to get your stuff together. Where if you own a business, you're going to be busy. So when you own a business and you're busy, it's really hard to get all that stuff together. And it is also really hard to make sure that you get all the actual deductions that you can get. And that's where I come in at. And so for the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about itemizing. Okay. Well, first we're going to let's go ahead and show the, just the information that I need. Paulette, yeah, that one. Yes. So this on the screen, this is all the information I need just to do your bulk of the information to do your taxes is going to be right here, which is basically, your name, date of birth, address, your dependents, if you're getting a refund, the bank information, and I can do all of your I can do the taxes remotely. So I can do it remotely. You just send me the information through either email or text message, and I will do them remotely, which means you don't even have to sign them. So that is a great time saver also for you, especially when you are doing your own business, because it gets so busy doing business. So now we are going to go ahead and talk about the itemization, which is our Schedule A. So our Schedule A, excuse me, sorry about that. Allergies have been killing me lately. So our Schedule A is, now itemizing, it's kind of a little difficult to itemize because you have a standard deduction, and to itemize, you have to go higher than your standard deduction. So a lot of people don't get enough to itemize. Sorry about that. And, but itemizing, you can use like medical bills, the medical insurance that you pay. And if you're self-employed, there's also there's a credit for health insurance when you're self-employed. So that's a good thing too. Ooh, I am so sorry about that. And then we have like any copays to doctors, even medical miles. You can use your medical miles for picking up your medicine as well as going to see the doctor. And then you have the copays, if you have life insurance. And then there is the mortgage interest. So like if you own your house or if you have a mortgage on your house, the mortgage interest is part of what we put in the itemization, as well as property taxes, the real estate taxes. And if you make any like big purchases, like if you purchase a car or a boat or a jet ski, the sales tax on that can also go in here. Or if you don't make any big purchases, then we could do a general sales tax table, which takes your family and the amount you make, and it basically says this is probably how much you spent for sales tax. And then there is the charitable contributions. Now, excuse me, charitable contributions are 100% deductible. So medical is not 100% deductible. It goes by a percentage from your income. So it goes by a percentage from your income. So the bills have to be over, it's 7.8%. And when those bills are over the 7.8%, then you get to use them on your as you're itemizing. And then the charitable contributions now. This is a really awesome things because the charitable contributions, excuse me, they're not only like your tithes and like anything given to a nonprofit organization, any non-cash, like if you give to Goodwill or Salvation Army, for those, the non-cash, you definitely need to get the ticket from them. You definitely need to get that. And then like your church can print out a statement for you for the tithing. And then you're also like any nonprofit organization like the Dream Center. If you give something to the Dream Center or any of those other ones like United Way or any of those that are nonprofit organizations, you can put all that in there. And then you have the volunteer work. Now, volunteer work, there's probably
Jenn, let me pause you real quick because this was a big question. This is a big, like, what? You got deduction for volunteer work? You know, I volunteer a lot. So we
yes.
might have volunteers on here.
Uh-huh.
So, guys, invite somebody that you know volunteer with you, wherever you volunteer. Get them on this call right now. Get them on this live. But let me pause as we jump into volunteers because everybody on here I see, mostly everybody are volunteers. Let me say hello to Mina. She jumped on. I appreciate that. I know she's busy. She's got stuff going on. To Nova, Claudine. Claudine says, thank you very much for offering this opportunity. You're welcome, Claudine. I'm sure Jenn is so happy. And
Yes.
Joe says, that's a question for Joe. Joe has a question. We will get to the questions shortly, Joe, but I'm paying attention to the chat. So we're going to move right on to volunteerism.
Okay. So, for instance, myself, I volunteer at Dream Center. So, any miles driving back and forth is an expense for itemizing because it's volunteer miles. And then anything you donate to the organization is also like if you donate money or you I had one lady one time who she did a bake sale. She paid all the money to do a bake sale to raise money. So she purchased all the stuff, had people uh, make stuff, and then all the money went towards raising money for an organization. So she was able to deduct the tablecloths, the cakes, everything because it was volunteer work. So she was able to do that. Like if you get um, like any shirts for volunteers, or if you have to get like a safety vest for volunteering or name tags, if you've got to purchase anything, it can be included in the itemizing. And then the let's see, there's a volunteer miles, there's the expense. Oh, if you go on a missions trip, okay, say you go on a missions trip, all of that is a tax deduction. The entire trip, the airfare, the if you stay in a hotel, the hotel, and also you get a little extra for being away from home. So all of that, any expenses you have during that trip, is all a tax deduction. So I know that there's a lot of volunteers. So that's a big one that a lot of people overlook because, we're volunteering because we love to, not because we're trying to make money. That's why it's called volunteer. And then, so that is pretty much all for the, in your taxes, getting your taxes done. It's also a tax deduction each year, actually, even if you're not self-employed. If you are itemizing, you can take that fee and put it on your taxes to equal up to be higher than your standard deduction. So all of that is the volunteer and the itemizing that you can do. And now we're going to go ahead and talk about businesses. Let's go into business.
May I pause? May I take a question from the audience, Jen, really quickly, before we transition to business? I know we have some small business owners on this group. Can you guys hear me okay? You can hear me okay? Good. Jen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So Joseph asked, I should put my glasses on.
Yes.
We'll take one question, but don't leave because she has a discount if you want to extend, of course, and of course, Q&A at the end. If you refinance your house, do you have to pay taxes on the cash did you receive back? Do you want to take that question for Joseph, Jen?
Yes, I will. Let me take a drink and then I'll take that question. Okay. No. Unless it all goes, actually, no. It wouldn't even, no, actually, you don't. Unless they put it into no, they shouldn't put it into a 1099-R. So no, you would not have to pay taxes on the cash you receive back. And that would also actually give you more interest and to put on your itemizing also, because it would have a higher interest rate for you. So you would be able to put that on your itemization to see if you can get to have enough itemizing to make your taxable income less. Because we really don't want to pay taxes, do we? I know I don't.
No, not at all. So put your questions in the chat, and I will just feed them to Jen as she continues.
Yes. All right. So are we ready to go to small business? Or are there any other questions about itemizing right now?
I don't see any questions in the chat, Jen.
I don't either. Okay. So, we'll go ahead and do the Schedule C. All right. So, small business. Oh, I love self-employment. That is my specialty for sure. That is so good because in America, we are giving that opportunity to have a self-employment business. And then you also, with a business that is your own, you also are able to do your own stuff. There's so many deductions. Oh, so let's talk about the deductions. So first, we're going to say how we understand what business expenses are. And the business expenses need not to be required to be considered ordinary or necessary. So, the ordinary expenses means that the expense is common in the industry, and most business owners in that same business or trade would normally use that expense. So that is what a ordinary business expense is. So then there is the necessary business. Now, a necessary business, so Well, let me give you an example of an ordinary business expense. So most companies, you use pens and pencils or paper for a printer. Those are ordinary expenses. And like for myself, who does taxes, an ordinary expense for me would be paper or ink for the printer. That's an ordinary expense. So then you have the necessary expenses. The necessary expenses is the expenses are appropriate and a business owner might not be able to manage without the expenditure. So, for instance, most people, especially nowadays, you have to have a computer for a business. Most people have to have a computer for a business now. So, that is a necessary expenditure and it is also depreciable. So, we will put that down under by itself and it would be a depreciable item. Another necessary one would be like you couldn't do your business without your phone. I mean, who nowadays could do their business without their phone? I certainly couldn't. So your phone is a necessary expense for your business. And also, if you buy a phone specifically for your business, that is depreciable as well. So that is another necessary expense. So that's how you have the necessary expense. And so with understanding business expenses, an expense that meets the definition of ordinary and necessary for business purposes can be expensed and therefore is a tax deductible. Now, there are non-deductible expenses, yes. And I'm going to talk about some other expenses in a little bit, but there are some non-deductible expenses. Now, these non-deductible expenses, I'm sure none of y'all are going to do them, okay? But just so you know, you cannot expend bribing an official. You can't do that. That's not a business expense. So, like, if you bribe someone, you cannot use that as a business expense, and you cannot use penalties and fines and contribution made to political, that's the word, political parties as a business expense. All right. And then a lot of people, like for instance, if you are like advertising, let's talk about advertising. So advertising and promotion, there's so many expenses with that. And I'm going to tell you one that is going to completely blow your mind today that a lot of people don't even think about doing. So, advertising. Okay, of course, you got your business cards, right? And your posters and your flyers. Those are all things you know you can expend as advertising and promotion. And if you pay someone to promote you, that is another deduction. Now, one that a lot of people do not know about, and this is a special one that I use often. So it's kind of a secret, okay? So if you put a magnet on your car or your business, every single mile you drive in that car is a business expense. Every mile. And it can even be like one of those really small on the window decal things. But every mile, my best friend used to drive to come see me from North Carolina. Every mile was a business expense because she had a vinyl on her car. Wow. So every single mile. And she's just, going about her daily, trips and everything. And every single mile is a business expense if you have a decal or a magnet on your car. So, and I say put it on, you got a car and your husband has a car, or you have a car and your kid has a car, put one on there too. Every single mile. So that's very important. And also this is another one that a lot of people don't think of. That's all for the promotion and advertising. But bank fees, like if you have your own bank for your business, the bank fees are a tax deduction. Like if they like the monthly fees, the interest, it's all a tax deduction.
Wow. I hope you're writing all of this down. So Jen, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, thank you, Joseph, Mina, Nova, Claudine. Thank you for engaging. So let's roll this back a little bit, Jen, because I just heard something like super duper cool. You said, I know you told me about the magnet, right? Which I'm gonna order just for the fun of it. I am. I'm just gonna put it on there because I want the deduction for next year, for this year. So you said every single person in the home can put a magnet on their car. So does that mean you can, like, every individual? Oh, let me see. How do I ask this? Now I'm talking about business. So if all those people work for the company, are you taking tax deduction for their miles, or is it for the individual trips?
Okay. Yes, let me explain that a little better then. Okay, so for instance, say you have, all right, so say you're married, okay, and your husband has a regular job. He's not self-employed, you're self-employed, and he's not.
Okay.
But he often travels for work.
Okay.
So, like, he often travels for work. If you have a magnet or a window vinyl on his vehicle, you can still take all his miles because it is advertisement.
Okay. All right. Now I get it.
Yes.
Cool.
Even though he doesn't work for your company, because that magnet on there is still advertising. Isn't that awesome?
This stuff is game changer. Ask your question. This is a game changer for me. Like, why don't we know this, right? It's amazing that we go about our business day after day after day. And small business owners like myself, and I see a few here on this live. I don't know if you guys know this stuff. Put thumbs up. If you didn't, like, just put IDK. I didn't know that, right? We go about our business year after year. Even when we file our taxes, and I've just never been told this. I see three people on this call that has a business, but nobody's ever told us that, because like you said, if there's a deduction and there's a way to save you money, you'll find it. And this is why I see your faces, I see your faces as the tax expert. Let me see what they're saying on here. So Omena says, great. Joe says, thank you for the good news. And connect. Oh, Alex is here. Alex, small business. Alex, I hope you heard that last part. It's a game changer. Alex, it's time to get a few magnets. Never heard. See, Alex is my graphic artist for 4 years now, and this man is intelligent. He knows his stuff. Now you know, Alex, we can take off all of our mileage. This woman, listen, if you haven't already connected with her, let me put the number on the screen really quickly. If you haven't connected with Jen, give her a call, because, I don't just like shout anybody out or have a live with them unless they know their stuff. To sit with somebody in an hour and a half and I'm crying, I'm not paying all these taxes. I'm not paying the IRS, because I paid them $20,000 a couple of years ago. I said, I'm not paying them a dime. I'll move back to my country. And to have Jen, like, I was really erotic, guys. And tell them the truth. I'm laying out in my chair like this. I'm laying out and I'm carrying on, but I was really upset.
Yes.
And I was frustrated. And I'm sweating. I'm like, gosh, I don't want to pay $4,000. And to have left with a smile, and I left her office with a smile and the fact that, I'm getting a refund. Even if I didn't get a refund, I was cool with that. But just knowing I didn't have to pay Uncle Sam my $4,000 that I work hard for, I was about to move. So thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your nuggets, guys. Just let's loop somebody else in. Hence, we have them join this live. It's free. Nobody's wanting to get anything from you except connect with somebody who will give you this wisdom, right? So thank you, Alex. Put your questions in the chat because we're going to have a Q&A very soon. Go ahead, Jenn.
Okay. A lot of people know about the business mills. Okay. Let me explain what a business mill is because a lot of people don't understand completely what it is. So it must be an ordinary and necessary part of carrying on your business. So, for instance, the mill cannot be lavish or extravagant under the circumstances unless you are. There are some cases where it can be, but it depends on what your business is. So, for instance, Miss Paulette, I'm going to use you for an example right now. She has a business where presentation is a big part of it. So, because she has a business where presentation is a big part of that business, a pretty decent amount of like, not like totally extravagant, but eating at a nice place, like, even Olive Garden or something, yes, is an actual business expense because she is meeting with a client and she is a professional. Like, she is like the kind who presentation is important. So because of that, she could use some of those business expenses. And I see a question that just came across. Do you want me to answer that question?
If you have time, yes. You
I
can.
can answer it.
I just don't want to miss the questions here. Go ahead.
Okay. That depends on if the car is bought for the business.
Let's repeat the questions because everybody can't see. Everybody doesn't have good eyes like me.
All right. Can you deduct the price of the car that you put the magnet on? If the car is bought for the business, yes, and it is a depreciable item. Just like the laptop or desktop and cell phone. It is a depreciable item if you bought the car and use it over 50% for the business. It has to be used over 50% for the business. Yes, you can deduct it. And we would put that on your taxes and depreciate it, which a car, I believe, goes for 5 years. So we can do like a lump sum the first year where you get more back, like 80% back, and then it'll depreciate a little bit more each year after that for 5 years against your business expenses. So that should answer that question.
Wonderful.
Yes. All right. So back to the business mills. All right. So the business owner or employer must be present at the mill. So you have to be at the mill. You can't like pay for someone else to eat the meal. You have to be there too.
Okay.
So for it to be a business expense. And you can deduct 100% of the cost of providing meals to employees, such as buying pizza for dinner when your team is working late. Even if they're contractors, that's fine, which honestly, with the small businesses, I suggest you do contracting, like you contract them instead of doing them as actual W-2 employees, because it works better in your favor against your business's expenses to do it that way. And then, or like, like an office party or a picnic or like a barbecue. So say for instance, I had one who he did insurance sales, and he had this thing where in 1 month he had this barbecue, and he had all these people who had bought life insurance from him. In that month, he invited them all to this barbecue so that he could thank them for helping him out, and that entire barbecue was expendable for his business. So that's another one that's an expensive expended. expenditure for your business. And
Tell them
also,
about the hair. Tell them about the hair. Tell them about the hair.
oh yes, okay, all right. So
Tell 'em
also
about
yes, yes, also like Miss Paulette with her business, like if you're in a business where presentation is important, like a presenter or a speaker or a singer or entertainer or actor, any of those, where presentation is important, your hairstyle, your haircut can be a tax deduction. Your makeup is a tax deduction. Your nails are a tax deduction. Your your let's see, for men, it's the beards, the products for the beards, hair gel, and styling, hair styling products, all expenditures. If you are in a business where presentation is important, like you have to have a nice presentation for your business, and of course clothes too for that business. And so if
Yeah,
you have like for instance, if you're a vlogger, okay, so like you're or a YouTube influencer, you would need to have the nicer outfits. You would
mm-hmm.
need to have makeup. You would need to have the ring light. You would need to have the basic setup.
Right.
So, and your nails, most of them would need to have their nails done. Oh, jewelry. Jewelry. I forgot to mention that to you. Well,
Ooh,
yes,
jewelry
jewelry.
too.
Yes,
Okay.
jewelry for your presenting. Earrings, necklace, rings, bracelets. I don't have my bracelets on tonight. But makeup, and the makeup's a big one.
Yeah, they're expensive. Let's take
Yes.
a break real quick because I want to have you answer a question. But this
Okay.
truly is a game changer. I was at the makeup store because I normally buy makeup for my sister, and I forgot to just take mine out when she did her last order. I was out of makeup. This is like the first Sunday was the first I put on makeup in like a long time. I didn't have makeup. So I broke down and I told my sister, I'm like, when are you going to order makeup? When are you going to order makeup? I went to Ultra, and
Oh,
this tiny skinny tube, right? This skinny tube, this one foundation that matched my face. It was matted. I didn't look at price. I'm bad about that. I just like something, I want to buy it.
yes.
And I told the guy, oh girl, I'm the short agenda of this person that was helping me. And I'm like, oh, I just want to get this one. He comes back like, oh, we have a sale, so I'll hook you up. I said, good, I'll take it. $47 was the sale price. I'm like, what the heck? That was 1 week's worth of makeup. But now I won't flare because I know it's like it's a write-off. I love this stuff. So let's welcome Susan. And Susan is asking the question, Jen. I'll let you read it. Susan has 2 questions. Go ahead.
Okay.
Didn't you see a question? Yeah.
Yes. If you're self employed, can you write off life insurance? Yes, you can. You can with itemizing also. So, yes, you can.
Here's another question from Susan.
Okay. So, when the company you're an independent contractor for does not give you a 1099, but you still report the income. They're not necessarily going to get flagged, unfortunately, because it's a disservice for themselves not to give you a 1099, honestly, because that would go in their expenses, because what they're paying you is coming off their gross, so it's making their gross lower, so they should give you a 1099. But yes, you still report the income, and it would just go on a Schedule C without the 1099, which is perfectly fine also. There's a lot of people that do like house cleaning and stuff, and they just keep track of all their income, and then they do it without a 1099 anyways. Yes. All right. Let me go on for another one.
Yes. Just let me
Okay.
know which form you need now.
I'm still on Schedule C. So, Education.
Is that this one?
Nope, that's A.
Oh, I'll just let you talk.
Okay, that works too.
Mess up your forums. Go ahead.
That's okay. Education. Okay, this is also a good one. So, like, especially if you're in like a business, like a promoting businesses, or like a graphic artist, or um, a vlogger, or someone who does seminars.
Mm-hmm.
This is an important one too, because when you do seminars, you're constantly learning more, right? So that you can have more knowledge for teaching the other ones that are below you. So any seminars you go to, and if you stay overnight, there's also a per diem, which is a certain amount. This year it's $69 per night that you stay away from home. So for instance, if you go to, say you go to Paris for
Yes, we will.
yes, I want to go to Paris. Say you go to Paris for a seminar, or you go to Paris to teach a seminar. Either way, if it's learning something or you're actually teaching something, every night that you're away, so Paris probably at least 7 days. So every night that you're away from home, those 7 nights is $69. So you get $69 for each of those 7 nights as a tax deduction. Plus, of course, your airline fees and the hotel fees or Airbnb fees, or your Ubers or taxis, trains, whatever you take. All of it is an expense for your business. So also with educational costs, like if you buy some books. So for instance, if you are a life coach, okay? So if you're a life coach and you're buying books about how to further your business, or how to, like, if you want to learn how to do your own taxes for your business, that book that you're buying is an expense for your business. Or if you're learning about a new technique in the life coaching or whatever your business is, graphic artist, if you're learning about how to do more like harder graphics or a certain way to do a graphic, the book you get or the software even you get is all tax deductions. And it's if it is something that is to improve your field, that's when you would be able to use it. And legal and professional fees. This is another good one. Of course, it has to be directly related to running your business, which include fees charged by lawyers, accountants, bookkeepers, tax preparers, me, and online bookkeeping services. So, again, if I'm doing your taxes, you can take your preparation fee that you pay me to be your professional that gets you as much money back as legally possible. You can take that on your next year's taxes as an expense for your business. And then we already talked about the travel. So we talked about the travel, the lodging, the business, anything that you need for the travel. Now there is also, and this is something else that we can talk about. It's a 20% qualified business income deduction. Now, this helps, like, if your business is extremely successful and you are making lots of money, and your income is like really high. This is a deduction that was put in I think it was in 2018. This was put in where whatever your net income is, you will have 20% of it gets deducted from it to make your taxes less. So that's a qualified business income deduction. So that's a very good deduction to have.
I'm sure the politicians came up with that one.
Yes, really.
Yeah, love it. Make money. Okay, we get that. We get that.
Yes, I'm
Who
sure
you
they did.
I'm sure they came up with that one. So if you all would put your questions, we're going to wrap
Yes.
up in
Yes.
about 10, 12 minutes. Put your questions in the chat. Jen still has to cover the the gig economic
Oh,
thing.
we can
So
talk.
she's going to cover that, and she's going to talk about a discount that she will give everyone on this call if you need to file your extension and get your paperwork together. But we're still taking questions, and we want to wrap up at about
Okay.
8:15. But go ahead, Jen, and I'll look for
All right.
questions.
So real quick, gig economy. All right. So this, a lot of people have been doing this. It's like the Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, DoorDash, Instacart, all these things, Airbnb, all these things are gig economy. So these are businesses, and I have some special forms for those business. You don't have to put it up, Paulette. That's fine.
Okay.
But I have special forms for that business. So if I'm doing your taxes, I send you the form, you fill it out, and if I see something that maybe you didn't think about doing, I'm going to ask you to try to get what you owe more less. And also if you have a rental property, because I forgot to touch on the rental property, but I'll touch on it real quick. Rental property, so that's also a specialty of mine. Anything you do for the rental property, like the house or the property is a depreciable item. The like if you pay utilities, depreciable. Well, not depreciable, that's an expense, but your miles back and forth, all the stuff you do for the rental property, so that's also a specialties of mine. So that is something that I can help you with as well. So let's talk about the let's see, you want to do the let's do the special offer, and then we'll do the Q&A. How about that? Good. All right. Yep. There's a special offer right there. Special offer. Only $10 to file your tax extension if I complete your taxes. So only $10, y'all. Yeah. I mean, that's less than what it costs to eat at McDonald's now. Um, and there is a code. You can call me at 813-578-7713, or you can text the code Jenn the Tax Lady to 813-578-7713. If you did not write that down yet, that number again is 813-578-7713. If I do not answer, leave a message, text me. Text me. You can text it. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me, honestly, is texting. So again, that's 813-578-7713. All right, let's do Q&A now.
All right. We have, I don't see any additional questions just yet.
I see one on the side.
Susan question, we got that.
There's a Nova. Nova has a question.
Oh, yeah. Not, can you see? I don't see it, but you read it for
Okay.
me? How do I not see that? Glasses,
I
maybe.
don't know. All right. What is, you probably because you don't got your glasses on.
Yes, yes, yes.
It says, what if you don't have all your receipts? Is there a maximum deductible for certain things? Like, for instance, makeup, charity, etc. Okay. So, a lot of the times, people don't have all their receipts. So, I tell you to guesstimate. I tell you to give me your best guess. Okay. So, the easiest way to prevent that from happening, where you actually don't have to keep actually, I would tell you to keep your receipts just like in a box, so that if in case IRS chooses to audit you, you have all the proof. But if you don't bring me all your receipts. I don't want your receipts. That's way too much paperwork for me. But I want you to write it down. The forms that I would send you would have, it tells you what it is, and then you put the amount beside it. So the the amount, like I would say, and I tell people this all the time, the easiest way to keep track of miles as well as expenses, get your notebook. go to $1.25 tree. Well, it's now dollar plus, but get
Yeah.
your notebook and write down everything you buy and total it at the bottom of that page. Do this weekly. So, like each day, put it on the page and do it weekly. Total it at the bottom. And that way, when you come to me to do your taxes, you only have to add up the totals at the bottom.
Oh,
So,
cool.
that is the best way to do that.
Well, I didn't have all of my receipts, y'all, Nova. I didn't have all of my receipt. I had a lot. But what I did was when I go somewhere, I do snapshots of my receipt. I send them to me in my email and I file them. So I'm insane, like gas, anytime I eat anywhere, I put them there. But I didn't print them. That was a lot of ink. I just kept it there. And with the conversation, truly, let me tell you, don't fret, don't stress. Sit in front of Jen, get on the phone. Jen is going to ask you questions. You'd be like, for real? For real? That's how she got all this. That's how I got all this money back. Swetha, I see you. I have your question, but she will ask you, we don't know what we don't know. It's that simple. We don't know. If you don't know what you don't know, how are you going to ask the lady? How are you going to show a receipt? She will tell you. So I'm like texting people like Alex and Dion, like, hey, I need a receipt for this. And I just needed everything that I did because I remember I did them. Some were saved, some were not. But Jen will help you out by asking you the right questions. So
That's what I'm here for.
Swetha has a question, and
Yes,
she said that it's not allowing her to type on the platform.
Okay.
Does the title of the car have to be in your name? Example, my car is under my parents' name. Did you hear
Not
that?
technically.
Okay.
I was thinking about it. Not technically, but for you to, I would say to be safe, see if you could be a co-owner. But not necessarily your name doesn't technically have to be on the car because it's still business miles. And if you are paying for the car, even though it's not in your name, you can still deduct those payments. Just we wouldn't be able to put the car down as a depreciable item for that. But you can still put the magnet on it, and we still count all your business miles. And if you're making any payments on it to your parents, like kind of like leasing, then we can count that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Did I miss any other questions? Did you see questions? I didn't see any.
Oh, Nova. She's asking if 2,500 is the total charity deductible instead of showing all receipts. You just get credit for 2,500. I would put the 2,500 in. You don't need the receipts unless IRS audits you. If they audit you, then you need the receipts. But it's very easy to go back, look in your checkbook, Cash App to see where you spent it, or your church. They'll actually print you out something if you want them to. A lot of the places will print you out something also. And worst case scenario, if we put it in there and IRS audits you and you can't prove it, then we just take it off. We do an amendment, we take it off, and you don't itemize if it is not enough.
Oh, that's wonderful. One more question here from Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Would you read the question real quick, please?
If you buy a house strictly for a rental and you sell it, can you deduct the profit or loss from the sale? Absolutely. Absolutely. Ooh. Yes.
That's good. Let me put my glasses on for this one. I need this. If you buy a house, sell it. You can. Wow. Good question, Joseph. Mm-hmm. Good question. Jen is like one of the cool things that I like about Jen that was profitable for me. And I invited all of my friends who does Airbnb. She's an Airbnb expert. So the fact that I can sit with her and I was able to get money back, I use Airbnb everywhere I go now because if there is one, because I also own stocks in Airbnb. So I'm like, I just want to make money and also be a part of the company. But it's so good that we can get money back and we have an expert here that can tell us how. Because Airbnb didn't tell me all this stuff. They did not for sure. So thank you, Jen. Do we have
Yes.
any other questions? Oh, here's another one. That would be, does it?
Yes, you can lease the car from your parents. Yes, you can do that because
Okay,
you're
good.
still
So
leasing.
it's like you heard. Here comes another. Their questions coming.
Okay. LLC. Actually, I did print something out to read to you about the difference in the businesses. Honestly, okay, an LLC, um, it says, as an LLC, if my expenses are more than my income, would I get a refund or will I just not have to pay taxes? Okay, it depends. Um, if you have any dependents, if you're married filing jointly, or if you're single, it depends on that because there's other credits that I can get you. And if your expenses are more than your income, honestly, you don't have to claim all of your expenses. Um, you definitely want to claim the expenses if the income is more than the expenses. Um, but you do not have to claim all the expenses. And I will tell you this, if I cannot get you a refund, because I will do my best to get you the absolute most legally back I can get you. And if I can't do that, then my next option is to try to zero you out. And if I can't zero you out and you have to pay something, then I'm going to get it to the lowest legally possible for you to pay. I had one that's the other day that only had to pay $1, and I
Wow.
could not get that dollar away. It was very
Serious.
it was very irritating. So,
But yeah, guys, I've personally seen her go to work for me. So this is not just talk. This woman went to bat for Paulette. Like
yes.
I didn't even know. I was complaining about paying the $4,000, but if push come to shove, what would I have done? I might have left the country, who knows? But I'm just saying, I kind of had it up to here, like in the mid 2000s, when the IRS told me I owed them $20,000, like that was, yeah, I almost exit America, but I thought they would find me anyways because I had an American passport. But I've
Probably.
just had enough, and I swore to myself I will never pay the IRS again. I paid that off. I didn't want to go to jail, and I said I would never. And when you work in real estate, those of you who own houses or do Airbnb, the taxes, they keep rolling, they come. But that was a hard pill to swallow, but I would never forget it. So Jen, you have no idea what you did for me. I just like, yes, it's amazing. And I wanted to share this with the world because I know there are people out there who are just suffering and they have to pay taxes. You're made to pay taxes. So even if your friends didn't come on this call, guys, if your family members share this information. So I know if you're on Facebook, only my friends and family can see this, but this information will be on YouTube for quite a while. So do share it and lock Jen number in your phone. Jen, if you would read your number, because I took my glasses off. People can call
Yeah.
you.
All right. That number again, make sure you're writing this down now. 813-578-7713. And again, like I said, texting is probably best. And that number again is 813-578-7713. And my email address, if you want to email me, you can do that also. It's jennthetaxladyiam at gmail.com, which is JENNTHETAXLADYIAM at gmail.com. And again, one more time. So if you hadn't written it down yet, write it down now. My phone number is 813-578-7713. And again, you saw the code for the extensions. So if you can put that up one more time.
Put that back on. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, the extensions, $10. Now I will tell you at Jackson Hewitt, extensions are going for like $59 this year. So $10 is like a big, awesomeness. So I will do your extension for you if I complete your taxes. And that code is Jenn the Tax Lady to, again, my number, 813-578-7713. 813 578-7713. Text the code Jenn the Tax Lady to 813-578-7713.
Wonderful. Thank you all. First of all, I want to
Yes,
say thank you
thank
all
you.
for just hopping on. This information will live on YouTube. Will be shared with Jenn as well to put on her Facebook page. Oh, yes, on a Facebook page. But do share this content, right? We're not trying to keep all this good stuff to ourselves because if you're an adult in America, you are made to pay taxes, which means this information is relevant to everybody.
Oh,
What we don't,
just
that's what we have in common. But what we don't have in common is the knowledge that she shared. She's very knowledgeable. And because I'm so excited that she just not just saved me money, but made me money, got a refund. We want to get this information out there. And Jenn, you had something to say before we
yes, one more thing.
go ahead.
Okay, if you cannot wait with the extension,
Okay.
I do also work at Jackson Hewitt in Lakeland. So if you want to come see me there, it's 4149 North 98 North, well, Highway 98 North. 3 doors down from the Panera Bread. So
Yeah,
just ask
just
for
call
Jenn.
her. Yeah, call her
Yeah,
and then she'll
call
tell
me.
you everything. Yeah.
Yeah, all
Definitely.
good.
Definitely
All
call her.
right.
Jenn, thank you. Jenn, thank you
Yes,
for
thank
being
you.
here, for finding the
Yes.
time. And we hope to see more of you either on my live or on somebody else's live or your personal live. Because,
Yes.
like I said, the day that you helped me, I used the word golden. I'm like, girl, you are golden. Thank you. But thank you for coming on.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you for having
guys,
me.
everyone that came on. I asked you to go on YouTube and share this video because Jenn will get clients. So it's a win-win. Jenn will get clients, yes, but she'll save you money as well. So
Yes.
let's help each other level up. You know, hands up to everybody. Share the information. Get with Jenn if you can use the services. But thank you so much for jumping on, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Thank
My name is
you.
Paulette, and I appreciate you coming on. Bye now.